I'm going to cover the multiple choice answers from exam 4 in this video. So for the first one, it says the greatest standard deviation. Standard deviation is distance from the mean. So B is the correct answer here because you have the data the furthest away from the mean, the low end and the high end. Number 2, IQR is quartile 3 minus quartile 1. So it's around 20 minus around 5. It's about 15. We're estimating here. Approximate would be C. 3, they want to know the shape of the distribution. In this case, the histogram. The tail would be on the left. Therefore, this distribution is skewed to the left. Number 4, this is easy to overlook. They surveyed all 60 employees. So this is a census. There's no need to do inference. Inference like taking a sample to draw a conclusion about the population. Number 5, the median is the middle data point. So I took 175 divided by 2. That's 87.5. So there'd be 87 below, 87 above. I need the 88th value, or the 88th waiting time in order. So the first 80 are between 0 and 5 minutes, and then about the next 50, which would take me up to 130 total, is somewhere between the interval of 5 to 10 minutes. So the median has to fall within that interval. What is it? It could be this. We don't know the exact median. Number 6 gives you the quartiles and asks which statement is true. Quartile 2 is the median, so it's the 50th percentile. At least 50% of customers spent a value less than or equal to that value, and that means the other half spent 44.27 or more. Number 7 deals with z-scores. You have the male grizzlies who have a mean of 500 and a standard deviation of 50, and females 340. So they want to know the z-score for the male that weighs 530 pounds. That's 0.6, and they want to know with the same standardized score, what would the female's weight be? So I'm just going to take that z-score of 0.6, plug it into the female formula, and get 324. Number 8 is dealing with shifting and rescaling. There's a rescale of 75 and a shift of minus 100. Subtracting 100 does not affect the standard deviation. So I'm just going to do the 75 times the 576 to get the standard deviation, in this case of B. Number 9 is an interesting way to ask a question. Typically, we solve for sample size here, but now they're asking about for the confidence level. So I'm setting up the margin of error equals the critical value times the standard error, dividing by the standard error. So I get a critical value of 1.65. That means I have to find the area under the curve within 1.65 standard deviations of the mean. So I did normal CDF, get a little above 90%. So the confidence level would be approximately 90% for this question. Question 10. They want to know what's a reasonable conclusion here. And they have these different covers. So I'm really trying to see what they did with randomness. They were randomly assigned to sell CDs with one of the cover designs, and the other stores were randomly assigned to sell the other design. So because we have random assignment, we have an experiment, therefore we can conclude cause and effect. So that's what you can see here. In part D, it's the difference in sales because of the random assignment. Number 11, you have another experiment here. They have detergent A and B. What they did is they flip a coin to determine A or B. So they just took their subjects, or in this case, experimental units, the towels, and randomly assigned them to one of the two detergents by chance using the coin. They're not blocked by like level of stain or anything like that. This is just a completely randomized design. To minimize response bias is anything specifically that's done to manipulate the response on a survey. So that would be E. you want to make sure that the wording is done correctly, and you want to test it ahead of time before you hand out the official survey. For 13, now they're talking about the sampling distribution. Or, I'm sorry, no, they're not. They're just talking about the distribution in general. So in order to be approximately normal, it would have to satisfy the 68, 95, 99.7 rule. If I go 3 standard deviations below the mean, I'm going to have negative weights. Even 2 standard deviations below the mean would be negative. So this distribution is not approximately normal. That leaves C and D. The least possible weight is within 2 standard deviations from the mean. So you're going to have a bulk of the data below the mean and some bigger values above the mean, but not many of them. So this distribution is going to be skewed to the right. Number 14 was not graded on this AP exam at all, so you can skip that. There's not a correct answer. Or if there is, there was something wrong with the question, so just ignore it. Question 15, what is not a legitimate concern? People with unlisted numbers may be underrepresented. Well, that's not the case because they're not looking in a phone book. They're just calling random phone numbers. So it doesn't matter if your phone number is listed or not. You could get called. 16, it says the components fail independently of one another. So we want to know what's the probability that the device will not fail. So that means the first one, second one, and third one all do not fail. I can multiply these probabilities because they're independent of one another to get D.